is Valley News Live at 4.
Happy Friday, everyone, and good afternoon. More and more homes are being burglarized in South Fargo. Thieves are stealing firearms, prescription meds, even a vehicle. Valley News Team's Brian Sherrod joins us live now with how you can protect your home. Brian?
Well, good afternoon, Stacy. I'm right here in South Fargo where a lot of these incidents have happened, and what we can tell you is that 4 of these incidents happened while the homeowners were gone for a couple of days. Now, when I talked to Fargo police, they said that they are not sure if the same suspect went through all of these households, but they did provide tips so that it doesn't happen to you while you're away. So let's let you know that the Fargo Police Department says there are several ways to protect your homes from intruders. The first way is to ensure the exterior doors of your home are secured. Always ensure exterior lighting is working properly and turned on during hours of darkness. Ensure alarm systems are working properly and engaged when you are and are not home. Authorities say you should get a safe in the event someone gets by your other home security systems. Now make sure your house looks lived in while you're away, and also call local law enforcement to make sure your home is safe to go back in.
Really depends on what you're seeing. So when you're getting home, is there an open door? So is the front door or garage door open and it's not supposed to be? You know, you don't know when that break-in occurred, so someone could still be in your house, and that's not a safe situation to enter. So you would want to call police and let us enter and clear your house, and then we'll let you in when we know that it's safe.
Now, Fargo Police Department also says to register your items on the Free My Property website. So that way, if you're able to if you did have your items stolen, they can identify the items that was stolen and they can go and recover them just based off you having your information in there. Brian Sherrod, Valley News Live.
Thanks, Brian. The Free My Property website allows you to enter specific information about your items like serial numbers and upload pictures. You can find that link on our VNL News app. Just click on this story. Here's a look at today's top 4 at 4. Tonight in Grand Forks County, a trail of stolen goods left along Highway 18 led deputies to a thief. A toolbox was sitting just outside True North Equipment near Northwood. The business had apparently been burglarized. Deputies found a missing forklift further down the road. They arrested 21-year-old Matthew Kuznia for felony burglary and possession of stolen property. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is slightly relaxing some COVID restrictions. Starting tomorrow, capacity at bars, restaurants, and indoor entertainment venues will rise to 250 people. 50 people will be allowed at private events and celebrations. The governor's order doesn't change the limit on capacity by percentage. That means bars and restaurants still can't go above 50% capacity, and the limit for indoor entertainment venues stays at 25%. A grand jury in North Dakota has indicted a Michigan man on drug charges after the seizure of deadly fentanyl with a street value of $160,000. U.S. Attorney Drew Wrigley says 28-year-old Barry Brown Jr. faces multiple drug charges. The indictment says police served a search warrant at Brown's Bismarck hotel room last month and found approximately 2,000 pills that were designed to look like oxycodone but contained fentanyl. Agents also seized $66,000 in cash. Wrigley says Brown is one of many targeting Native American communities. The nation's top health experts predict the general public will be able to receive the COVID vaccine in April. We spoke to local hospitals and health departments to see how their vaccine rollout is going. We'll tell you what they think of that April goal and when you could get your shot, coming up in just a minute. But first, let's get a first look at our weather with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Hutch.
Yeah, Stacy, this morning, brutal cold across many of our communities in northeast North Dakota and northwest Minnesota. The Devil's Lake Basin saw wind chill values to 60 below zero. That's right, Langdon, you've been one of the coldest places the last several days, and your wind chill hit 60 below. Roseau, no picnic there, 49 below, and coldest wind chill there. Wind chill warnings continue again. Fargo, Moorhead, Wahpeton, Breckenridge, all the way down into Traverse County, Sisseton, all inclusive with the exception of our far southeastern counties of Grant, Otter Tail, and Wadena. Here's a look at those wind chill values right now, 20 to 35 below as we head into the evening hours, and that's with fairly light wind, Stacy. Air temperatures by bedtime tonight will be in the teens to around 20 below, with the coldest air once again being positioned and poised up along and north of Highway 2 and in northwest Minnesota. Grand Forks, you will be near 20 below. The coldest weather for many of us this week is yet to come, I'm afraid. I'll have details on exactly how low we go and we are still eyeballing some mighty nice temperatures in the forecast. I'll have all of that good news for a change here in just a few minutes.
That's what we like to hear. Thanks so much, Hutch. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the country's top infectious disease expert, predicted April would be open season for COVID-19 vaccines, meaning anyone who wants one will likely be able to get one. We checked in with our local hospitals and health departments and asked about that timeline. Sanford says they have the manpower to meet the April goal, but for now, there aren't enough doses. They say President Biden's goal of 1 million doses a day is possible, especially now that the president has apparently struck a deal with drug makers for 200 million more doses. Sanford says they will reach out directly to patients when it's their turn, so make sure you're monitoring your email and voicemail for messages from the hospital. Vaccinations are ramping up in Grand Forks. Grand Forks Public Health says they're getting around 800 to 1,000 doses a week. They just expanded the vaccine offerings to anyone 65 and older, regardless of whether they have an underlying health condition. They echoed Sanford's concerns about vaccine allocations, but they think it's possible to start giving the shots to the general public in April if they can get more. Fargo Cass Public Health says they're vaccinating people as quickly and efficiently as possible. The health department says they're vaccinating double the number of people in half the amount of time it took just a month ago. They're reminding everyone who signed up for their wait list to check your email and messages from the health department and make sure not to share your online registration information with other people, as this slows down the system. In Minnesota, Clay County Public Health says they're working on vaccinating people in phase 1A. They're calling Fauci's April goal aggressive. The department says they're frustrated with the amount of doses they've been given. They say it could be possible if they received many more doses from the federal government. Due to a large shipment of the vaccine to the VA, all veterans enrolled in VA healthcare are now eligible to get the COVID vaccine. But there's a catch. It's only available to those who can schedule their appointments for either tomorrow or Monday. To schedule, call the Fargo VA 701-239-3700 and select option 2. Veterans must be enrolled in VA healthcare in order to get the COVID vaccine through the VA. There's a lot going on regarding COVID vaccines, but staying on top of the latest information is easy. Just have our VNL vaccine tracker handy. To check it out, visit our website or open your phone's camera and point it at the QR code there on your screen. Then tap the link that pops up. The North Dakota State Hospital in Jamestown is modifying its visitation guidelines. 2 visitors per patient are now allowed in designated spaces on campus. The visits must be scheduled in advance. The hospital is also bringing back student clinical training and educational tour opportunities. A Republican-led North Dakota Senate panel has refused to endorse a bill prohibiting any new abortion clinics from opening within 30 miles of a school. The bill is also aiming to bar the state's only abortion clinic in downtown Fargo from expanding. The Senate Political Subdivisions Committee yesterday gave the bill a do not pass recommendation after some of the panel members worried it would not survive an expensive court challenge. The bill now goes to the full Senate for consideration. The American Civil Liberties Union and Planned Parenthood are calling the measure unjustified, unreasonable, and likely unconstitutional. Also in the North Dakota legislature, the House has okayed a bill that would ban transgender athletes from playing on sports teams with the gender they identify with. The bill passed overwhelmingly after nearly an hour of debate. Supporters argue that it would protect female athletes from competing against players who could be more dominant. Opponents say it discriminates against students, and it isn't the role of the legislature to decide who can or can't play school sports.
Do you seriously think it's the role of this legislative body to determine whether one is too big or small or weak or strong to go out for a school sports team?
It is about protecting the rights of women and girls, which were created under the 1972 Title IX Act Education Amendment provisions.
The bill now goes to the Senate. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was prepared to plead guilty to third-degree murder in George Floyd's death before then U.S. Attorney General William Barr personally blocked the plea deal last year. 2 law enforcement officials with direct knowledge of the talks say that deal would have averted any potential federal charges, including a civil rights offense. It was part of an effort to quickly resolve the case to avoid more protests after riots damaged a swath of South Minneapolis. The officials say Barr rejected the deal in part because he felt the investigation into Floyd's death was still in its relative infancy. A call to action for a family that's been there to help other people in their time of need. Logan Schonert is a Grand Forks fire captain, and his wife Melinda is a nurse who recently traveled to New York City to help during the peak of COVID-19. Now they need support. Their son Kaiser suffered a serious head injury while horseback riding last month. He had emergency brain surgery at Sanford Children's Hospital in Fargo and is beginning to regain control of some movement throughout his body, but he has an unpredictable road ahead. Logan and Melinda have relocated to Fargo now to be by their son's side and will likely have to move again for his rehab. Friends have set up a GoFundMe account calling Caring for Kaiser to help the Schonerts with medical and living expenses. They ask and you delivered. The community really came through for Giving Hearts Day yesterday, helping hundreds of nonprofits who rely mostly on donations. Nearly $22 million was raised. That shatters last year's amount by more than $2 million. It's day 4 of former President Trump's impeachment trial. We'll tell you where we stand and what's next when Valley News Live at 4 continues.
And our severe lack of heat continues across the valley. Peak temperatures below zero for everyone except Sisseton. Congratulations. I knew you could do it. 0 degrees for you. Well, we do have some cold weather heading for the weekend ahead. The Arctic air continues. I'll have details in your forecast coming up right after this.